Okay. So in previous video, you might have seen like this was the UI which I used to do the website part of bus booking system. So here we are getting some cities, and here also we get some cities, and on click of search with this particular date, we were able to search it. Right now the API I didn't added the foreign key, so data is not proper. So no, with any from location and to location, data is not coming. So for now, I will just empty the whole database. Then we are going to do the admin part. Means we will able to create the bus schedule. We will able to create the vendors, locations, CRUD, everything, and booking also. Okay. So those things we are going to do. So first, let me just search the tables. So these are the various tables I have for this application. So first, like let's say location. So location I won't delete. Let me just open it once again. Okay. So first table is for bus location, keeping like what are the locations the bus is going to travel. Then bus schedule. So this is the table where we are going to store the schedule. Like we have so many different vendors. Let's say vendors as in let's say travels company, right? So different travel company will run their buses from one location to another. So we have to create a schedule for that, right? So in Redbus also there will be first we need to register as a vendor, then we will be able to create the schedule like what are on which route we are running our buses. Likewise it will be visible on their website, then customer will be able to book that. Okay. So let me just delete whole data. Okay. Then we have one more table, that is bus vendor. So he in this table I am going to store all the vendors which are registered with me. Okay, means travel company. Let's delete. I didn't add the validation. So you can see so many empty data is also visible. Then we need to clear the booking also. Let's clear booking. Then while booking, we need to provide the passenger detail also. So means multiple record. So that like what passenger is traveling. So that information gets stored into this table. Okay. Let's just delete this also. So now we just have data in the location table. Otherwise, all the data we have removed. Okay. Now I'm going to use the local project only for API because we might need to do some changes whenever we are working on the admin panel. So we might need some new API, or we have to change some logic in the existing API also. So that's why I will be using the API from local. So this is the .NET project. I'm simply running the project now. So my by default API is running on this port. Okay. So this was the same project which I used for the website part. We have booking, search page, and service. It was everything created, just the website part. Now let me just show you the API. So whenever we talk about admin applications, so whatever the thing we see on the website, that is not static. It is going to come from the backend, right? So admin will create the locations, admin will create the schedules and everything, right? So for that we are going to use this API. So first we know like we have different vendors in Redbus also, or you talk about Redbus or the Abibus, whatever the bus booking platforms we have, all the vendors or the travels company has to first register to their platform. Then they will be able to create schedule. Okay. Once they create schedule, let's say from Pune to Nagpur, let's say Saini Travels is there, they are going to run two buses. Okay. Timing might be, let's say, 5 p.m. and one more is 7 p.m. Okay. And they will reach it sometime. So what Saini will do, Saini will first register on the portal. Then they will create a schedule. This is one schedule. Means from Pune to Nagpur, they are going to run two buses. Okay. And in each bus, what number of seats they have, they will also specify that also. Timing also like that. Okay. Then once vendor created this schedule, then only this search data will be available on the website. Okay. This is how Redbus and the Abhibus might be working. Just the basic structure. Obviously, there will be a more detailed way, everything. But to create the POC, this is also enough. Okay. So what we are going to achieve in the admin application, like login page will be there. Obviously, there are going to be multiple vendor and a super admin will also be there. So we need the login page. Then we will need to do CRUD operation of vendor. Okay. Then bus schedule and bus booking. Like let's say Saini has created two bus schedules, like the two schedule he has created. Now customer from website, customer is going to book the tickets. So Saini should be able to see like how what number of booking he has received. Correct? So we need to show the booking also. So bus booking received. Okay. So these are the mainly four component. One more admin component will be there, that will be for location, where we can create new location. That's it. Okay. So just five components we are going to create now. So this is the same project we were following. If you have not seen, just see bus ticket booking video one more time so that you will have an idea like how website is going to work. Okay. Now, whatever things we have seen in the website, just how that data comes into the website, that we are going to do now. Okay. So now in app folder, what I will do, I will create an admin folder just to separate out the component. Now in admin folder, we have to create the component. Okay. So let's open a new terminal. And in the website already we have this login and everything, right? So we won't create login page again. We will use this login form only to for vendor login also. Okay. Now, so in this component, we will need one component to do the CRUD operation of vendor. So ng generate component vendor. We will try to use PrimeNG also instead of directly doing the normal CRUD operation. We will use PrimeNG also so that we can have filter, sorting, everything. Vendor component is created. After that, we will have schedule. Okay. Then what we said, vendor is done, schedule is done, booking. Bookings. And then just a master folder, master data, that is locations. Let's enter. So we have created four component. Okay. This is with Angular 18. So uh, like we don't have app module. So all the component will be standalone. So you can see just components files are getting created. If it was an old project, we might get one more entry like app module got updated. But since we don't have app module, all components are standalone. So once you create the component, next thing we have to create the route. So in previous version, we used to get app routing module.ts. It was a module file, but now it's just a constant file. See, routing file is just a constant file. Now here I'm going to create the routing. Okay. Now see the application which has a website part and an admin part also. Okay. So currently we have already completed the website part, but we are going to need an admin part also. Either what we can do based on the logged in, let's say if we logged in as a vendor. So if vendor is logged in, instead of these menus, we can have two more menus also, or you can have a separate admin theme also. That is also possible, but we just have two or three pages. So instead of designing the that admin part, we can just use this website part only. Okay. So if logged in user role is vendor, we are going to show some menus over here. If it is normal customer, we don't have to show that menu. Okay. And one more component we are going to need, or not a component. So see, let me show you just the API. As I said, vendor need to first register. So we have one API, that is create vendor. So by using this API, vendor will be able to register. Okay. Then he can log in. Then he can create his bus schedule and he can see the booking, everything. Okay. So first thing, like we have to create the registration form for the vendor. Okay. So now if you see, this is just a generic user registration form, but just let me show you the API. Create vendor is the API. And if I show you the API, see register vendor. Okay. If I show the API over here in the role, by default static, I'm passing vendor. So it doesn't matter while sending the object what you are passing. Here I have static it. Okay. Hard code value I'm passing is that vendor. So if you use this API, you are registering a user, but that role will be vendor. Okay. Now, so this is the first API we are going to integrate. Now, in this model pop-up, we have this login form, right? Now, if we click on the register, we are getting this form. So now here we have that model and everything already connected. Just here, we will have one more button that will be register as a vendor. And on that click, we are going to hit another API, this one API. Okay. Now, this was a project when I created the APIs were hosted. So in services, I have created this variable where I have stored the API. But now I'm using local API. So I will just copy paste this. I will comment the existing one. Now my local API is running on this port. Okay. If you are using my API, so you don't have to use this. This is only running on my local system. Okay. So let's try it. Execute. So this is going to be my API. Should be like that. Okay. So let's just copy this and let's paste it over here. Instead of this live URL, I'm going to use my local API. Okay. Now, so in app component, we had that model pop-up. Let me just reduce the zoom little bit. So this is my now app component, and in that app component, we just had the navbar. And after the navbar, we had this model pop-up. Inside this, we have this login form, and then we have this registration form. So whatever the object I showed you, that is already over there. Now, instead of this register button, one more button will be there, and that button will be like register as vendor. Okay. Now, if user clicked on that button, we need to create one more function on vendor. Okay. Let's create this function. So again, I'm repeating, like if you have not watched the previous website video, then it will be like very confusing to you because it's like a continued part. Okay. Now, so on this function, we have to create new API call. Okay. So we have already created a service. So now in this service, we need to create one more function. So just like this, I will just copy paste this now, or let's just write on register vendor. Just a minute. Let me just pause. Okay. So this is the function. Now in this function, we are going to make the post API call. So if we see the API, this is the post API call. Okay. So let's create the post API call function. So this dot http dot post. Post API obviously need two parameter, URL and the object. So URL will be now the API URL we have already created over here, the basic URL. Okay. Now we just need to make it dynamic. So here, like in previous function, what we did, we can call this as a concatenation. But in JavaScript ES6 feature, we have template literal, right? So instead of this concatenation, we will use template literal over here. So dollar curly bracket this dot API URL. Then let's see. So here you can see up till forward slash we have it over here. Now we just need the method name. So method name is this create vendor. So this will go over here. Okay. Then this is the post API. So obviously this function we are going to call from our component. So while calling this function, we are going to send the object. So we need to catch that object colon user. I didn't create a class or interface. Let's go like that only. So I'm just skipping the class and interface. Okay. I'm just going with any. Now, whatever the object we get, that we need to send it as a second parameter over here. Okay. So this is our normal API call. Now, if I hover on this function, okay, currently what what is remaining? We didn't add the return statement. So if you hover, you can see what is the return type void. A function which is not returning anything, it will have a default return type that is void. It's like a method. But if we say return over here, now if I hover, see, it is returning observable type of data. So this is optional. You can provide the data type over here also. Observable. Like this, you can provide a return type also, but that is optional. Okay. So we have created our function in our service. Now this function we need to integrate into our app component. So this master service object I have already created over here by using inject. Okay. So this dot master service dot the new function which we have created. What is the function name? On register vendor. On register vendor. We need to pass the object. So this dot, if we see the HTML, what object we have binded? Register object. So this only we need to pass. Dot subscribe, round bracket, result, colon, any. Again, I'm repeating, I'm not creating interface on class just to save the time, but you should create it. Okay. So here we need to add a check. All my APIs are going to return the data type of result, data, and message. Okay. So you need to add a null, you need to add a result check. So over here, if result dot result property is true, if we got true in the result, we will get to know like API call was success. And here we can say alert vendor created success. Okay. Then we need to close the model pop-up also. So this function, we will call it over here. Okay. And else block, if we get a result as false, so might be errors, might be error. Okay. So if you see over here now, you can see result property is false, and in the message we get the error. Whatever it can be the reason, like why API got failed. Whatever is the reason, you will get that reason in the message property. So in the else block, you need to show the message. So alert res dot message. Okay. Let's just check if we are able to register as a vendor. Okay. If we have to click on register. Let's say, let's create a Signy user. Username Signy only. Okay. Full name Signy Private Limited. Password, let's say 223344 I'm entering. Okay. Let's check the API call. Inspect network. If I click on register vendor, see, my function got called. If I see over here, whatever the data we filled, that is available over here. Let me just show you how actually data also got inserted. I will add the debugger in this API. Okay, this is how we add the debugger over here. Once I continue from over here, my API will hit. See, I got the debugger activated. While while integrating the API, we pass some object. So that object we got it over here in this parameter. See, got it? Whatever the data we send from the front end, that data we got it over here and the on the API side. Now, here we are first. What is the logic over here? Just see. Here I'm checking like username is already there or not, because something should be unique now. So I'm keeping username as unique. So here I'm checking like in my user table, do we have user already or not? So if it is null, then only I'm allowing to insert. So see, we don't have any user with username Signy. So now it is null. So I will allow him to enter the data. I'm changing the role to, I'm making the hardcode role to vendor, project name as bus booking. And these are the two lines which are responsible to enter the data into database. Okay. Let's check F10. Yeah. So data got inserted successfully. If you see the object now, you will get user ID over here, 1378. Okay. Let me show you the data also. So user master. This is the table. At the end, it will be there. See, 1378. Whatever the data we send from UI, that got stored into the database by using API. Okay. Clear everyone? This is how actually we store the data into the database. Okay. Let's return it also. So in the network, now we got the debugger. So see, in the result, we got true. So we will show the alert box and then we will close the model pop-up. So registration is success. Now we will do the login part. Login part is already done. We don't have to do it again. Let's move back to the login. Now, what was the user we said? Username is Saini and password was, wait, let me just, where is the password? Okay, this is the password. So see, password is easily available over here, but in the real application, we encrypt everything. Okay, this is not the normal because this is just a test application. So we are directly storing in the plain characters. But in the real application, they will encrypt this also. Okay, so this is the password. Let's pass it over here. Let's click on sign in. Wait, why it's not something happening? Let me check why it is not allowing us to make the API call. Oh, no API call function is there. How come? Okay, let's see if we have the login function or not. We don't have login function. Okay, so I think just API UI was there. I think on register, I directly allowed him to log in because in the registration object, we were getting the user ID and everything. Okay, so let's create the login function. So first we need to create the API call. So let's copy API URL will be login. So login again, login API is the post only. Okay, on login. Now on this button, click on this sign in click. We need to call our API call function. So let's create a function on login. Let's create this function into .ts just like this. Okay. Now I will just copy paste this, paste it over here. Instead of register on login will be there. And here we need to send what is the object we have bind. Oh, object also not binded. Now what type of object we need? Let's quickly check. So we need just username and password. So let's copy this. We will create an object. So in .ts, I will create the login object, login obj, colon any. Okay, again, I'm going with any, but you should create class or interface. Okay, now let's bind this object to our form. This is the first text box, square bracket, round bracket, ng, model. What we need to bind it over here, username. Same, I will copy paste over here and password we need to bind. Always try to copy paste the field name. If you make the spelling mistake, you won't get the data. Since we are using ng model inside a form tag, this name attribute becomes mandatory. So that's why I'm adding the name attribute also. Username will go over here. Okay. Now on click of this, we are using this function. Now in this function, instead of register object, we need to pass login object. Okay. And alert we don't need to show after login. Whatever the data we get, that we will store it into the local storage. Okay. And logged in user data also and close. Let's see if we are able to log in. 223344. Let's see the network tab. I will add the debugger in success over here. Let's add over here also. If I click on sign in, so you can see we got the object. Let's continue and API call is success, I think. Okay. We got the user. See, complete user we have got. And that we are storing to the local storage. And if you see the role, we have got role as a vendor. Okay. And we are closing the model pop-up. So you can see over here, we have got the logged in username and logout button. So as we decided, if the logged in user is vendor, we need to show over here some menus. Okay. So let's go over here in the HTML. So once we get the data, that data we are storing over here. So this variable we can use to show some dynamic menu. So if user is logged in, And inside this if statement is to check if user is logged in. If user is logged in, we just need to check at the rate if logged in user data dot role is equal to vendor. If it is vendor, again we will need some link. So I will just copy this li. So first is like we didn't created the route first. Let's create the route of the components which we have created. Okay. So app routing mode, app route.ts. So first is like vendor we have already created. Schedule, schedule, schedule component. Okay. So this is the first route which vendor is going to need. So this we will put it over here. Bus schedule. Okay. And one more component we are going to need, which is useful for vendor, that will be booking. Bookings. We have two component. Admin only we have to use. Okay. Another route is booking. So this we will use it over here. Okay. So let's check if we are able to see two more routes. Okay. So you can see bus schedule and booking is available. If we click on bus schedule, you can see we are able to navigate. If we click on booking, we are able to navigate. Okay. Now, first we need to complete the bus schedule work. Okay. So let me just pause the recording. We can go with questions. Okay. So now schedule. So let's see the API call first for schedule. Where is schedule? Schedule API. Okay. So this is the API to create new schedule. So see, this is the object. So out of this, schedule ID is our primary key. So this we just need to send it 0. Vendor ID will be logged in vendor ID. Okay. So we don't need this vendor ID in the form because whatever the logged in vendor ID is, that we will pass it over here. Bus name. Bus name we have to provide. Vehicle number also we need to provide from location and to location. So this is like foreign key. So this will come from our gate location. There is gate location. So whatever the data we get from over here, that we need to display into the drop down. Okay. So this drop down will be needed. Then these are just the date, price, and the total number of seats. Okay. So now in template, I have already created the UI. So this is the UI which I have already created. Let's copy. Let me just close everything. Now in the schedule component, I will paste the UI. Let's save and check if UI is coming proper. Okay. So this is the form. Okay, very basic form is there. I use ChatGPT to create this form. Let me just quickly make it proper. So we are not going to need this vendor dropdown. So let's get rid of this. Inside this, I will create row column structure. Let's say call 3. So bus name, I will move it over here. Then again, we will need call 3. Bus vehicle number also will go over here. So in the first row, we have two things, bus name and the bus number. Okay. After that, we will create one more row, call 3. Then we have from location and the to location. So let's copy this. Let's put it over here. Just like this, we are going to have one more where we will have from location to location. This is static, but we need to call API and we need to provide the dynamic data over here. Okay. Then departure time, arrival time, and schedule date. Okay. So do call 3. I will create call 3 over here. Let's copy, paste, and third one, schedule date. Let's remove this. Then price and the total seats. So again, row, all 3, price, and total seats. Let's save. Okay. So now UI is looking something better. Okay. So now here you can see in the single component only, we are going to do the CRUD operation. So we have the form also over here, and at the bottom, we have the table also. So this doesn't look good. So what we can do, we can have a button over here to toggle between the form and the list view. So let's create a button. So we had this. So above this, inside this, I will create a row, then call 12. Inside that, I will create a button, or let's class btn success, add new, or create new schedule. Let's append it to the end. Let's save. Okay. So here we get the button. So if I click on this button, only form should be visible. Okay. So now we just need to toggle the UI. So for that, I will create one more variable. So here, let's say is form view. Data type will be Boolean is equal to false. So by default, I need the list view visible. So if variable is false, if variable is true, so here at the rate if, so if the variable is true, is form is if is form view variable is true, we will show the form. Means this card will go inside this, and after that at the rate else, we will have our table view. So this card will go over here. So now if I save and check, by default, you can see list view is coming because by default variable value is false. If we make it to true, we will get the form view visible. Got it? Now, but the same thing we just need to do on this button click. So what we can do, we have this button. Either we can create the function or here only we can do that thing. So on click of it, click, we need to change the value of this. Okay. So this is a Boolean value. So this equal to not of that, vice versa. And this title also should be dynamic. So here I can use interpolation. Title only I will make it dynamic. So if this variable is true, this value, otherwise I will print this value. So if this variable is true, we need to say list view or this. Let's save. So now we are on the form view. So if I click on the list view, see this title is also dynamic and I'm able to change the URL also. Why do we have space over here? I think in the table view, we have somewhere space. Okay, MT5 is there. Let's save. Okay. So now we are able to toggle. Okay. Now we have this form. So first we need to create this object. So let's copy this. We will go to our .ts file. We will create the object. So obj colon any. Again, I'm going with any only. Okay. And object, we need to push it over here. String, I will empty. Date also, I will empty. Okay. So this is the default object. Now, vendor ID, we are not going in the UI, we don't have vendor dropdown. So vendor ID will be whatever the logged in vendor ID is there. So means whatever the data we have got in the local storage, because while once user logged in, we have stored the data, Redbus user. So whatever the user ID we have, that we need to store, that we need to pass it over here, 1378. Okay. So we have the logged in user ID into the local storage. So let's read that data. So in constructor, I will read the local storage data. So constant logged data is equal to local storage dot get item. We need to read the data. What is the key? The key name is where it is Redbus user. So this is my key. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Okay. Whenever we are reading the data from the local storage, we just had to have a null check because if user is not logged in, we will get the null over here. So that's why we have to add a null check. And while storing the data, if we see the login component, sorry, in over here, While storing the data, we have converted the object into string format. So again, if we are reading the data back, we need to convert it back to the JSON format. Okay. So over here, uh, let's let's create logged data with any. Okay. So in this variable, we will store it. So this dot log data is equal to JSON dot parse method is there. So many of you, you might be preparing for interview or you might have given the interview. So there is a question like uh, shadow copy and deep copy. Sorry, shallow copy and deep copy. So how do you disconnect any array and object, or how do you actually clone any object or array? So this is the way. Mine means first you need to convert the data into string, then you will convert it again back to JSON.parse. So likewise, you actually do the deep copy. Okay. So this is just a JavaScript question. Normally interviews you will be getting asking. Okay. So JSON.stringify, first we need to convert the data to the string, and then again we will convert it to the object format. Okay. So that is how we do the deep copy. Okay. Now in this variable, I'm going to get the data. So whatever the data I get, now that I have this object, right? Inside that I have vendor ID. So vendor ID, I need to pass the user ID. So this dot log data dot user ID will be over here. So now from my object, I got the vendor ID. Now remaining things I will get it from the form. So let's just open it side by side. So inside this form, we just need to bind the field. So a quick shortcut way to do it. So you can see with all the input element, we have this class. So what I can do, first I will write it. Let's square bracket, round bracket, ng model is equal to this. What we need to bind? Schedule object dot. This will be common thing. So what I can do, I will copy this. Okay. Then I will replace that with this. So in one go, I will do the copy paste everywhere. Now just here we need to do it. Now wherever we have this select, we just need to do the same thing because we just have two drop down. The remaining thing is also done. Now you just need to bind the things. So this is for bus name. So bus name will go over here. Then vehicle number, it will go over here. Okay, we are getting error because we didn't imported forms module. It's a new version. So we need to import forms module. Okay. Then from location. So that is this. Then to location over here. Then we have departure time when it is leaving. Arrival time when it is going to arrive at the destination. And schedule date. We have price and total seats. Okay. So we have created object. That object we have binded to the form also. We have this form tag. Let's remove this form tag. Otherwise, we have to add, what do we say? Instead of form, let's make it div. That name attribute we need to add everywhere. Just to avoid that, I'm replacing form tag with div. Okay. So we have created object. That object we have binded to the form also. Let's just one more time quickly check if we have any error. Okay. So no error is there. So our form is perfect. Now over here, we just need to show the drop locations we have. So to get the location, we have one more API where it is. That is this API, get bus location. But this API call function is already, I think I have created in my service. Let's check the service. Yeah, it is already there. So this function we need to make it, this function API call we need to make. So what I can do, we will implement our ng on init. So implement on init function. Let's write ng on init, load locations, this dot master service. Oh, we didn't create an object of our master service. Master service inject. What we need to inject? Our master service. Okay. Now, in this function, we are going to make the API call. So this dot master service get locations, subscribe, whatever the API call data we get. that we will store it into some variable also. Location list colon any is going to be array. So that's why I'm initializing with empty array. And you will get the data. If you see the response, you are going, oh, so see, this API response is directly array. So you don't need result.data. Directly this dot location list is equal to res you can do. Because this API call directly returning the array. So I'm not doing result.data. Okay. Some APIs will have some different response. And this function we will call it on the page load. Okay. Now, in this variable, we are going to get the location. Now, this location, we need to bind it on this static dropdown. So over here at the rate for loop, array, location list, option will go inside this. Let's remove the static one. Now let's check what data we are getting. So we get location ID and location name. So location ID is our primary key. So that we need to bind it to the value tag, value property. So property binding item dot location. And here we will show the location. Item dot location. Okay. Now this same for loop we have to use in the from location also because same type of city will be there. Okay. Let's just save and check if we are able to see the proper drop down. Data is visible. See, but our location is not getting printed. So I think, yeah. So here you can see location name is the property. So that's why I always say like always copy paste. We assume like it will be location, but it's like location name. Let's copy. Let's save. So now you can see locations are coming properly. Okay. Now we just need to write the API call on click of submit. Let's see the API call for post. So that is post only. Post bus schedule. First, we will create the service function. Just like this post function, let's copy, create, schedule. Method name is post bus schedule. It will go over here. Remaining API call function will stay the same. Now we have this button. Instead of submit, we will go with normal button. Let's right click function on save. Let's write this function. Simultaneously, we can check on the website also. Once we create the schedule on the website also, it should come. So this dot master service dot post create schedule. We need to pass the object. So this dot schedule object dot subscribe. What type of data we get? Okay, same object. Okay. So it's like we don't need to write that result dot result check. Okay. So over here, if it is saved, uh, let's show the alert box like schedule created. Let's just save and let's check if we are able to create the schedule. So bus name, let's say Pune NGP 5 p.m. Okay, just something unique name I'm giving to the bus name. Let's say MH315566. From location, let's say it is originating from Pune and it is traveling to, okay, sorry, Nagpur to Pune, na? Nagpur, oh, sorry, Pune to Nagpur. Okay, departure time, let's say around 7, where it is 7 p.m. today, arrival time tomorrow around 9 something. Okay, and date will be today only. Price will be, let's say 1200. Total seats around what it can be, let's say 24. Okay. Now, if we click on submit, we should see one API call. Let's just add a debugger. Control P, our schedule component we need to open because I need to add the debugger. So this is our function. Let's just add. So on click of submit, you can see API call function got triggered. Let's hover on it. So now over here, schedule ID is 0 because that is primary key. Vendor ID, you can see we got it from the local storage. Remaining data is also visible. Let's continue. Let me show you over here also where it is post bus schedule. No, post bus schedule. This is the API. Let's add a debugger and see if we are getting the data. I didn't have added any validation. I should have added the validation like for particular welder, for particular vendor, for particular date, for particular time, there should not be multiple, but no one is going to do that. So that's why I didn't add that validation. If I continue from over here, I will get the debugger over here. See, whatever the data we send that we got it over here. Okay. Now, if this line, two lines executed successfully, the data is created and schedule ID we have got 130. Continue. So means schedule got created successfully. Continue. Okay. Now let's see. Let's go to the website part. I'm just opening a new tab. Now in website, if I select Pune and if I select Nagpur for specific today's date, if I click on search bus, oh, why it is not coming? API call is there or no? On click of search, we have the API call. Let me just check search bus API. Okay, over here, let's try to debug this. Why it is not filtering the data? Search bus. We got from location 2 to location 8 and travel date is 12 only. Okay. What join I am adding, vendor and everything. Let's see. Zero only. Why we got zero? So from location is equal to from location to location. Let's check the table where it is bus schedule. So from location is 2 to location is 8. Correct only. From location is 2 to location is 8. And travel date is 12/10. What do we have it over here? 12/10 only. Is it something we join or what? And what is the vendor ID we have got over here? 1378. That is also visible. But why it is not coming? How previous API was working then? Let's try this API. After video got released, I have made some changes to that API. Let's see. Let's make it 2. Let's run it one more time. I'm using now old API to check like if it was working fine. On click of search. Okay. F10. You're also not getting the data. Join is wrong or what? Date. So it has the time, so that's why it is not searching or what? Let me just date dot date. Let's try now. Because in the database we had the date time. So sometimes it will try to match with time also. So now I said like just match with the date. Okay. Let's try. If it works, then that might be the issue. No, still it is 0 only. But why? Let me just pause the recording. Okay. So let's try to register again because API was having issue. So let's say on click of register, email address, let's try registering VRL at the rate gmail.com VRL travels password, let's say 11223344. On click of register, now data will be entered into two table, user table and the vendor table as well. Okay, so on click of register vendor, first API call is there for register vendor. Data got successfully inserted. Then we are storing the data into vendor table as well. Okay, great. And let's try to log in again now. So now if I log in, let's check the user table. So now username was VRL and password is 11223344. If we click on login, now we should get the proper vendor ID. Why we have got user ID 46 only in the login API. Let's check the vendor table. Okay, so see now vendor ID, whatever the vendor ID we have got from bus vendor, that we have got as a user ID over here. Now it should work proper. Let's go to bus schedule. Let's say Pune, Nagpur, 7 p.m. bus, MH314466. Bus location Pune to Nagpur. Departure time arrival time morning 9. Travel date, let's say make it of Sunday. Price 23,000. Total seat 25. On click of submit, it will create the bus schedule. Now let's go to the home page. From Pune to Nagpur, travel date it is 13. On click of search, do we have debugger activated? So now you can see we have got one count. Okay, so now API is working fine. So we have created one bus schedule, so that is coming over here now. Okay, so that schedule part is working successfully. Okay, now we need to now again we can do the CRUD operation also remaining like edit and the delete, but that I'm just keeping. Now, so vendor, whatever the logged in vendor is there, he is able to create the schedule. Now from website, customer will be booking. Customer will do the booking, right? So now let's log it. Let's log off. And now we will log in as a customer. So let's log in as a customer first. Let's say Chetan at the rate gmail.com. Now I'm logging as a customer. Username Chetan1122. Okay. Now I'm registering as a customer. So this button. Okay. On click of register, user registered success. And once user is successfully registered, I'm allowing you to log in also. So see, now I am logged in as a customer, normal customer. So those two menus like schedule and the booking, I'm not able to see. Okay. Now let's search it again. So now I'm trying to travel from Pune to Nagpur on this particular date. So let's try to book the seat. So on click of book seat, we said while creating schedule, we said 25 seats. So like that, 25 seats are automatically over there. All seats are available, right? So let's say I'm trying to book seven, seven number, what do we say? What is the seat number and 8 number. So whatever the number of tickets you select, that number of form will be printed over here for the passenger. Let's say myself is traveling. Then let's say my one friend is also traveling with me. Okay. Now if I click on book now, booking got success. Okay. So now let's check the booking table. Booking table. Let's refresh. So now in the booking table, you can see we have got one entry. Customer ID is that, booking ID is the primary key, and booking date is this. And multiple data. Multiple data will go into this bus booking passenger, means my name and the Rahul name. So Chetan seat number will be 7 and Rahul seat number will be 8. Okay. So now you can imagine now how Abhibus and the Red Bus might be working. Okay. Now booking is done from the website. Now we just need to show this booking on the vendor login. So if now VRL travel login, he should be able to see the booking received for all the travels route he has created. So now we will move towards the booking part. So for booking, we have API. So at the end, get all bus booking. Okay. So this API is there. So this API has the parameter vendor ID. If we don't pass the vendor ID and if we click on just execute, so it will get us all the booking of all the vendors. Okay. This is like filter also. But now if I currently we just have one booking, one vendor and one booking only. So if we pass the particular vendor ID, so it will filter out that particular vendor booking also. Okay. So now we just need to make this API call. So let's copy. Now let's go to service. It's a get API call. Where is get API call? Like this. So let's copy this function. Function name will be this. And this should go over here. Okay. Now this function we need to call in our booking page. So let's just save all. Now we have to go to the booking page. Okay. And in this API, you can see this booking is there. What number of seats he has booked, that also we are getting. Like book seat number 7 and 8. In this particular booking, customer has booked seat number 7 and 8. Okay. So vendor, whatever the vendor is there, he will able to clearly see on which seat number who is booking and like that. Again, we can go into the detail mode, but I didn't create APIs like that. So if we select a particular schedule, we should see all the booking also. I think that API is also there. Get bus booking. Yeah. So see, this is that API. We have to pass a schedule ID over here. Let's check the schedule ID. What was the schedule ID? Schedule ID was this 131. So if I pass 131 to this API, I will get the booking received for this particular route, particular traveling bus. 404. Why? Why it says 404? API is there. Bus booking, where booking ID is equal to this. Oh, I didn't write the code. No, booking ID schedule. Okay, no, this is another API to open the particular booking. We need to see. Hmm. Get bus schedule by bus ID. Get booked seats schedule ID. Let's check this API. So see, this API is there, which will get us the number of seats booked. Okay. So in the website part, I think I have done that. So now let's go to the home page. And again, if I search with Pune, traveling to Nagpur, 13. Let's remove the debugger. So now remember, like previously we have booked 2 tickets. Now if I open this to book seats, so you can see these tickets are not bookable. Okay. So the API I have explained right now. So this is the API which get us the number of seats booked. So that's why by using that API response, I'm able to disable this because these seats are already booked. Now remaining seats I can select. Okay, here is a defect. If I unselect again it is adding. This is a defect. Okay. Anyway, so now we just need to show the booking in the vendor login. So let's log off. Let's try login with VRL 11223344. Let's sign in. So now you can see bus schedule and this is coming. Okay. Now here in this booking component, oh, one more thing is remaining. We didn't show the bus schedule we have created. Let's show that also quickly. Let's In the schedule component, we have the table, right? So inside this table, we just need to show the schedule, whatever the schedules we have created. So for that, post bus schedule, where is the API? Get bus schedule. Okay, so this is the API which we need to use. And now for this API, we have the vendor ID. Means, let's say if VRL logged in, he should only see the schedule he has created. He should not see the other vendor's schedule, right? So we need to pass the vendor ID, whatever the vendor ID is, 1378 or no. What was the vendor ID, schedule ID? Vendor ID is 46. Okay. So if we pass 46 to this API, so only one bus it is coming. Okay. Now this API we need to integrate to show the schedule he has created. So let's go to service and let's create one more function. Let's copy paste. And this method will go over here. Okay. Now this API call function we need to call on the page load. So here, and it is going to return directly array. Yeah. So see, this API is directly return the array of schedule he has created. So normally, instead of doing like this, what we can do, we will create an observable and we will make that async pipe use also. So what we will do, we will create an observable. So schedule schedule list dollar colon observable any array is equal to new observable. I'm creating observable because we are going to use the async pipe. Okay. Fine. So we have created observable. Now in constructor, we will just assign this dot schedule list observable is equal to this dot master service dot get bus schedule. Okay. And this function needs, what do we say? Vendor ID. So instead of writing it over here, we will do that inside this. And this schedule vendor ID, we need to pass it as a parameter over here. Okay. So now whatever this function is going to return, that kind of data, observable type of data, we are going to store it in this variable. So now this, we can use it and we are going to use the async pipe. So we need to import it also. Async pipe. So now on the table, instead of normal for loop and creating variable and subscribing to that, we have created an observable. So at the rate for loop, so over here, this, and we have to add pipe, async pipe. Then we need tr and inside that td. How many td we need? Let me just copy paste. So first is like we won't show the schedule ID. We don't showcase primary ID in primary key anywhere. So serial number we will go. Dollar index is like what we get the serial number plus one because it start with zero. Then we need to showcase item dot. So I will just copy paste this. Let's see what type of data we get. So bus name I will showcase. Vendor we don't need to showcase because we are only logged in. So why to show that vendor name? Then we have from location. So from location name. Then we have to location name. Departure time. Where it is departure time. Now, if you see in departure time, we have date and time, but we just need to show the time. So we will use pipe over here. Departure time. Then we have arrival time. Then schedule date. Where it is schedule date. And here which, wait, why schedule is date is like this? In the database, we have it properly, but I think from API, I'm not sending. Where is the API? Get bus schedule. Here I forgot to add that property. Comma, schedule date is equal to schedule schedule date. Okay, let's run. Schedule date also we will get that, we will display it over here. Fine. Now on the departure time and the arrival time, we need to add a date pipe. So again, we are going to use the date pipe. So let's add it. Date pipe. Okay. Now on the schedule date, we just need to show the date. So date and parameter we can pass like dd hyphen mmm hyphen yy. Okay. Same like that on departure time and arrival time. Okay. Over here, we just need to show the time. So what do we need to send to show the time? Angular date pipe show time only. Let's see. HHMM something we need to pass. Let's try. And here also same thing. Okay. Let's just save and check if it is working. Why it's not visible? Let's check if API call is going or not. Network call. Yeah, bus location is coming. Okay, error is there. What is the error? So now you can see in the URL, we have some %20, %20. Whenever you see %20, so %20 stands for space. So somewhere in the URL, we have some space. Let's see. So see, we have two space. So that's why %20, %20 was there. Let's try. So now, wait, API call is success. Why we got empty data? And why vendor ID is going like 4646? 46 was there, no? It, it is going twice. We didn't remove the hard code one. Let's try one more time. Okay. So now you can see data is coming properly. Price, total seats we didn't show. Let's add that quickly. Price. What was it? Total seats. Total seats also I'm not passing from over here. Total seats. Schedule. Dot total seats. Okay. So see, whenever we are working on a project now, sometimes API team, like the mistake I have done, API team is also going to do this mistakes. So it's your responsibility that you need to inform API team, like these are the things I need. These are the properties I need. This field I'm going to show into the table. So you need to convey to the API team. Then they will send it the properties, whatever you said so. Okay. Because in the requirement analysis, when before the sprints out, you and the API team need to work it together. What things you are going to need, you have to inform him. Okay. Likewise, they will write the API. What is the property? Total sets. Let's copy. Let's paste it over here. Okay. In action, we can have edit and the update button. So we are not just covering that. Now, the remaining part is the booking part. So now in booking, we just need to show the bookings, whatever the travels, whatever the routes or schedule I have created, whatever the bookings I have received for all the travels, all the destinations, locations I have created, that all bookings I need to show it over here. Okay. So for that, we are going to use this API. Function is already created, that is get all booking, and here we need to pass the logged in vendor ID. So let's close it. Now from this component, we are going to need this piece of code from the constructor. We are going to need that local storage data. So this I will copy, and in the booking, I will paste it. Log data variable we will need. If you are just in the learning phase, don't try to use the copy paste. I know everything already, so that's why I do that. But you don't know everything, right? So try to avoid the copy paste. If you think that you are in a stable position where you know the basic thing, then obviously you need to do the copy paste because it will save your time, and it with less time you will do more programming. Okay. But be sure, like, if you are in that position, then only start copy pasting. Otherwise, write everything. Okay. So now on the page load, we will just do the normal API call. On it API, on it, we need to write ng on it, get bookings. Okay. Now here, master service object we need to integrate. Service we need to integrate. Inject master service. So this dot master service dot get all bus bookings, and we need to pass the ID. So let's add a parameter over here, or we have this log data. So this dot log data dot user ID, sorry, not vendor ID. And now whatever the data we get, that we need to subscribe. Okay, that we need to store into a variable. So let's create a variable. Now instead of normal variable, I will create a signal. So booking list is equal to signal. What type of data we are going to store? Array. So any of array, round bracket, we will initialize with empty array. This is how you create the signal. Now this dot booking list dot set method we have to use whenever we have to update the signal. RES. Okay. This function we need to call on the page load. So this dot over here, like this. Okay. Now whatever the data we get, that we have stored into the signal. So wait, I think API UI code. I have not done. Okay. Let me show you the use of ChatGPT also. Let's open the ChatGPT. Now, what type of data I'm going to get? Let's see one more time. Get all bus booking. Okay. This type of data I'm going to get. So what I can do, I will just copy this and I will ask ChatGPT to create a card, or we will go with table because we just have to show so much data. Create table design to show array of above data. Okay. Let's say using Bootstrap. It will add the Bootstrap class. Enter. Again, a reminder, use the ChatGPT if you are having basic knowledge covered. So from the first day, never you should not use ChatGPT. Okay. Otherwise, there will be a no bad developer like you because you just know the ChatGPT. You don't need you don't know the concept. Okay. ChatGPT is very helpful, but use it properly. Okay. Let's put it over here. Now this tr we need to iterate. So at the rate for loop. Now we have signal. So how do we access the signal? As a method. This as a method. Okay. And tr will go inside this. So see, it saved our time to design that UI. Okay. Now, again, if we said like design it with Bootstrap and Angular, so for loop also it would have written, but we skipped that. Okay. So here instead of booking ID, serial number, dollar index plus one. So now here we need to show our bus name. So item dot, let's copy paste the things. So bus name is there. Let me just copy paste now. Bus name is there. Then we have from bus number also. After bus name, we can immediately show bus number. Then we have from location. So from location to location, we don't need to show because in the bus name only we are specifying everything, right? So let's just get rid of that. As much of minimum data we need to show. Okay. From location and to location, we don't need to show. Bus vehicle number will go after this. Then we have customer name. Vendor also we don't need to show. We are only logged in. Customer data. Travel date we need. Travel date. This. Again, date pipe we will need. So let's add a date pipe. Date. DD hyphen MMM hyphen YYYY. Customer name and email ID we are getting. What else is there? That's it. And seat number is an array. So again over here, this ULLI is there at the rate for loop. So item dot seat number. Okay. And inside that li we need to do. And over here, instead of item, we need to change the number seat number. And this seat number, we will print it over here. Let's just save and check if we are able to show the bookings. Do we have any error? No, no. Okay. Debugger is there. Why we got debugger over here? Why it is in pending only? Let me just stop and run it again. Let's remove all debugger. So if we reload, our API call will be there. But why we are not getting a response? It's in pending only. Let's try to add a debugger. Get all bus booking. Let's reload. Yeah, we got the debugger. Vendor ID we have got. Let's continue. In query, we have vendor ID. Why it stopped on this line? Let me just check it. Okay, so I think database is down. So that's why it is taking so much time to load the data. And in the API side, we are getting timeout error. Nothing wrong was there in the API. It's just that database is down. So we won't be able to get the data. Okay. Anyway, so remaining thing is like the same. You will get the data. We have already printed it also. I will again host this on the GitHub pages also. So if you log in with VRL, you will be able to find this two menu and you will be able to see the data. Okay. So since like database is down right now, so I won't be able to proceed. Okay. So that's it.